You know, if you take everything I've accomplished in my entire life and condense it down into one day, it looks decent.
All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of The Decent Show. I have to scratch my face, of course, and it's our first episode on video. Hope it turns out good. Probably won't. And I've never edited video, so we'll see how, because it looks kind of bad now. We'll see if I can make it look better. Maybe
Or worse.
Or worse. Maybe I can make it look worse. So anyway, as always, Ryan and Reagan. And Reagan, how's it going today?
Good. We've got faces for topography,
Yes.
for sure.
Okay.
Not even radio. That's how ugly we are.
Yeah,
Topography.
That's what my dad used to say to me. He's like, you got a great face for topography. I don't think he knows that word. I don't know it either.
I think it's something with like milk or something.
Okay.
No, it's definitely like writing.
Right. So we're going to be talking about The Last Dance. Kind of ironic that we have our greatest episode about the greatest basketball player ever, in my opinion. And we want to just dive into general thoughts, or what are you kind of thinking about The Last Dance? We've seen 4 episodes thus far. That's where we're at. I don't know when this episode's going to air, and when it'll probably air after 5 and 6 have aired on ESPN.
Yeah, probably.
So, but right now all we know about is 1 through 4.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any general thoughts?
Oh, it's great.
It is great?
It's great, and I'm not...
Did you see Tiger King?
Background? No, I didn't.
So, to me, this is I've been quoted as saying, probably other people have too, this is the Tiger King of basketball.
Okay. That's a documentary.
Right. Just docu-series are in right now, apparently.
Yeah,
like, this finally got made because of things like Waco and Tiger King. And
I don't understand why it took so long to make it. Like, he's literally talked about every single day, and he's been really retired for like 20 years. But
right.
I guess it's been less than that, but still. People think people want him to be the logo.
Right.
And like they didn't make a documentary about it. And I've seen like documentaries on like Big Baby Davis.
Right.
So I don't understand that.
That's the thing. Plenty of things have been made about Michael Jordan, but I guess like something this epic, or the footage of the season had never been used. Mm-hmm. That's the biggest thing, is that behind the scenes footage has never been used. Now granted, most of the stuff we've seen thus far is kind of common knowledge if you follow Michael Jordan documentaries. Like me, for example, like I know pretty much everything they've talked about so far. Like I've already kind of seen it. This is just a different way to present it, and they've got some better facts than the stuff I've previously seen. But like most of the stuff I've already known. Mm-hmm. Like I knew about the high school thing, what he did in college, the shot, how he was College Player of the Year, drafted by the Bulls. I mean, like the tidbit about like his first 2 seasons with the Bulls that I didn't know about was the fact that he played golf with Danny Ainge between game 1 and 2. And that the Bulls were doing a lot of drugs and alcohol like on the road while he was a rookie. Like that was one thing that like the documentary really didn't touch on that I've already seen. But everything else, like, and then like them roasting Krause. Yeah. Like those documentaries don't talk about Krause being the problem and them like roasting him and hating him. It really just focuses on how great Michael is.
Right.
This kind of covers everything.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm on the other end of the spectrum. I didn't even know what years he won the championship. I didn't know he won a championship in college. I might have known that, but I wasn't sure. Like, I wouldn't have bet on it.
Right.
I didn't know about him making that shot. It was super clutch.
Right.
I didn't know about him being that great in college for sure.
I didn't know the shot was designed for him. I didn't know the play was designed for him. I knew everything about like that shot and that play, but I didn't know they drew it up for him. Mm-hmm. I figured they just like were running a play and he just happened to be open.
Yeah.
Didn't realize it was designed.
But I didn't know any of that. And honestly, I'm not that big of a Michael Jordan fan, I would say. Mm-hmm. I don't know. He was gone before I was even able to understand what basketball was.
Same. Yeah.
But that's not everyone's like that. But just for me, it's
because of Space Jam for me.
Yeah, Space Jam. I mean, Space Jam was always a great movie to me, and I loved it. But I guess I just never was like, man, I want to learn more about this guy.
For some reason, that's where I took it. I think I saw Space Jam, and I was like, yo, I want everything Michael Jordan. Like, and my parents just got me like Michael Jordan jerseys and like.
But I don't think I didn't get into basketball until like late middle school, honestly. So that's probably why. Right. It's because like I didn't care about it at all. I was way more into like football at the time for whatever reason.
You're a man.
Yeah, I mean, I was a man.
Yeah,
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, well, you softened up.
Yeah.
But back to the content to be consumed.
So anyway, as a person who not even a super fan of Michael Jordan, really entertaining. Great.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
It is. And I love the highlights. What? Okay, yeah. Let's get into the problems.
I mean, I get that they're trying to build drama and all this other stuff, but I'm like, it's your 6th championship. Y'all have won 5 championships together, and it's like, oh my god, like, there's all these. Is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? And I'm like, even if it didn't happen, would it really be that big of a deal? Like, y'all are acting like your franchise has never won a championship, and y'all have like a 1-year window to get it done, and
Right.
maybe it'll happen. Maybe you could go on an incredible run. Maybe you could be like a 2011 Dallas Mavericks before them.
Right.
But like, I'm like, y'all are the heavy favorites, and everyone's talking about you every single day.
Right.
And it's a little, they play it as like just the way they play it of like, oh man, it was so intense. We just didn't know if we were going to get it done. And I'm like, I'm sure there was a lot of pressure, but at the same time, you know,
The pressure was just like when the Warriors won 73 games. I mean, they are going to be forever remembered for not winning the championship that year. And so, like, the Bulls just have all this pressure of, like, always being the greatest, and, like, their team kind of is falling apart due to age and the fact that, like, they were going to trade Pippen and, like, Phil Jackson. It's his last year no matter what. So it's like, even if you go 82-0, it's your last year.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's where the drama was like all these expectations. And I feel like...
But it's a different kind of drama. I feel like they were really leaning into,
like,
you know...
What if we don't win?
What if we don't win? I'm like, well, just look at your other 5 trophies. I don't know.
You'll be fine.
If Jordan didn't win his last championship, would his legacy really have been that hurt?
No, but 6-0 is better than 5-1.
But what if he doesn't even make it? What if the team falls apart around him?
Right. Yeah, no, okay, so losing in the finals to me kind of hurts it a tad, not really a ton.
Yeah.
And then never making it to the finals to begin with and then just retiring, yeah, it's probably not as severe either.
Because he would still have more than everyone but Magic.
And he'd still be 5-0 in the finals.
Yeah. And he'd be undefeated in the finals. And I guess at the time... Okay, well, let's back up. At the time, do you think it was really that much pressure, and was everybody really thinking about, you know, there's definitely something weird going on with management, and there's definitely a divide between them?
Right, and it's
do you think that there was that, though?
To me, yes.
Or do you think that was under wraps, and now it's...
No, it was... I think it was pretty out there, because they talk about it being out there. They show clips of it. Jerry Krause was saying that it was Phil's last year because they took forever to get him signed, and that was in public news. They're like, why have they not signed him? And they're like, okay, fine, we'll sign him for 1 year.
Right?
Yeah, we'll sign him for 1 year. It's his last year. Goes 82-0, that's it. And they're like, well, why is that? And they go, Michael, what are you going to do? They're like, we'd love to keep Michael Jordan, but he's got to play for a new coach. And so then they ask Michael every single day. They're like, well, Michael, are you going to stay? Are you going to retire? He goes, well, I won't play for anybody but Phil Jackson. They go, okay, well, Phil Jackson's not coming back, so what are you going to do? He goes, well, I won't play for anyone but Phil Jackson. They're like, well, does that mean you're retiring? I don't know. So it's like, and then he ends up retiring. But, like, I think there was a point to that.
Yeah,
just the pressure.
Sure there was.
No, the pressure of the media.
Yeah.
Like, to me, they were putting that on because they knew all this stuff, and they're asking him every single day. And they're like, well, okay, well, is Scottie going to get traded? Is Scottie coming back? I don't know. Like, couldn't he have had surgery over the offseason? Yeah, probably. And it's like, well, can you guys win? Are you going to keep playing? Are you going to retire? Like, I don't know. The pressure is every day. Because, I mean, they talked about the Warriors. They already said that it was like David West that said there's going to be a 30 for 30 about
the Warriors.
About the Warriors franchise.
But that's...
Because of all the things that happen behind closed doors.
But see, like, maybe it's just me, but I felt like they're really... We don't... As of right now, I really don't feel like there's any sort of beef or whatever you want to call it, or, you know, controversy surrounding the Warriors right now.
Well, the KD thing, I mean, the media blew that up. I mean, the media was asking every day, Kevin, are you going to stay here? Kevin, are you leaving?
Yeah.
But like, that was a lot of pressure, and that divided the team, and it eventually kind of broke them up.
I guess it wasn't that big of a deal to me, or it doesn't seem like that big of a deal.
But it's similar to what's like the Bulls went through. It's very similar situations. I mean, would you agree or no?
I don't know. If you're asking me, if you're saying that's similar, I would say that the documentary is sort of hyping up how much of a big deal it was.
Right.
Because to me, if the let's say the Warriors documentary comes out,
But do you feel like you don't buy the hype because you already know they win a ring?
No, I honestly just think that, like,
They have hyped it too much.
I think a little bit, yeah.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, if the Warriors documentary comes out now and they're like, it was a humongous divide. There was all these things. The media was just, like scolding us all the time. They hated us, all this stuff. I'm like, man, they really did. I mean, they were after y'all for a while, but that's all of that's cooled down now.
Right.
That's
cooled down
that was like
nationally,
half a
though.
season.
The local media is asking them the same stuff every day.
Yeah, but that's not as much of a big deal because that's
Right.
not televised to everyone, and
Right.
Doris Burke and whatever are
Right.
talking about it before the game, every single game, and
But it is the same questions and it is recorded, and they're probably going to use it.
yeah, they'll use it for that documentary. But I'm saying is, like, every documentary has a thing where they, it's not real. They always have an angle they're going at,
Right,
obviously.
right,
And I feel
right.
like the angle of this documentary is
Very Jerry
hype,
Krause.
very anti-Jerry Krause, which we'll get to in a minute, and let's make as big a deal as this as possible because if you get it more epic, the more epic, the more things they overcame, but they've overcome them all before.
Yeah,
so
well,
you know what I mean? Like it feels like there's a little bit of, all right, let's dial, this might have been an 8 or a 9, let's dial up to 11,
Yeah.
We get everyone all somber and talking about,
Right.
I mean, we just falling apart or whatever, and we just didn't think we could do it, and we just,
Well, and the fact that
We had
it
the best
is
player.
their last opportunity to do it. Because,
Yeah.
Phil Jackson called it the last dance before the season even started. So,
Oh,
to
dude,
me, that's a lot of pressure.
there is drama there. I'm not saying there's not drama there. I'm just saying it's a little much. Little much.
You got any other big problems with it?
I feel bad for Jerry Krause, honestly, mainly because
Little
he's
bit.
dead and not able to defend himself.
And he's actually kind of getting credit. I know he's getting shit on a lot. He's getting a lot of crap, but he's also getting some credit, because they're like, yeah, Jerry did put together the team and he did this and that, but his ego got in the way. And then Jerry could, defend his ego or whatever, but at the same time they are going, yeah, Jerry did this and that. And back then, I don't think that was being said at all,
And Jordan said,
which is why he's so mad.
like the players were the most important thing. It's everybody, but the players are the most important thing. You agree with that?
He corrected himself too. He's like, no, I meant it's not just the players, it's the players and the organization and the management. He's like, he thinks of them as all three equal parts, according to his correction, I think. But even that's kind of loose.
Jordan?
Who?
I was talking about Jordan's quote where he's saying, obviously we're thankful and we couldn't have done it with all these other people, but at the end of the day, the players out there are the most important thing.
Jordan said that?
Yeah, Jordan said that.
Yeah, the players, technically are, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that too. I was just wondering if you had any.
But Krause kind of said it to where Krause basically said the players aren't that important. And they were like, what? How could you say that? And he goes, no, the players are important, but so is, us. Is he had to correct himself or something to that effect. Do you remember that part?
Yeah, I do. I
Yeah.
remember when they're interviewing him, he's like, well, they missed a word or whatever.
Right,
Or
right.
The only, I think he said only was the word
Right.
they missed.
Right.
Which was funny, and I liked how he kind of took him to task for that. But do you think there's any warning in what he was doing? Do you think there's any sort of, because I
think it really does come. The way they picture it, though, they like you said, they're angling it. They got the angle. To me, I buy into that angle, though. I feel like there's no reason they couldn't relatively keep this team together. Why did this have to be the last season? Why do you not just keep winning until you lose?
Yeah.
Why would they just immediately say this is the last season, win or lose? That makes no sense. And that was, to me, that's based on what they're saying, that's because of the owner and that's because of Jerry Krause. Because Jerry Krause was doing it and the owner didn't stop him. And
I do get kind of what he means when he's talking about retooling the team, though.
No, retooling the team is fine, but why do you have to get rid of Phil Jackson?
That is the questionable move. Yeah.
And then,
It didn't
if you
seem like
want
he
to
wanted
trade,
to go either.
Right.
He took 1 year off and then went to the Lakers.
I think.
I guess we'll find out.
Or he went straight to the Lakers.
They won it. They won in the '98 season, so that was the June of '98. So then
99 was the Lakers' first championship, or that was the Spurs that won it that year?
I think it was the Spurs that won the '99 championship.
Because that was a lockout year.
Yeah.
That was the other thing too. They talk about in the documentary. They're like, it was a lockout year anyway, so it was easy for Jordan to retire because they weren't playing anyway. And then there was no telling what the team was going to be. But still, yeah, I don't get why you had to get rid of Phil.
I don't either. Why do they have such a beef with each other?
Right.
Just because.
If you want to get rid of Rodman and Pippen, I guess fine, because I was actually talking to a guy at work and he was like, Pippen was underpaid the whole time they were winning, and then after the 98 year, when his contract was finally up, he got way overpaid because he was never good after that.
Or to Chicago.
I don't know who overpaid him, but whatever happened, he just said after that he was overpaid because he got paid a ton of money, but he was never good.
I know
like
Kobe
he never
when he was-
averaged like more than 15 points after that 98 season.
Really?
Or something like that, according to my coworker.
Because I know he's on that Portland squad that Kobe has the
Right.
Shaq lob.
And he claims that team was all Rasheed Wallace and whoever else. Like Pippen was kind of whatever. Or average. Or not worth the money anymore, basically. He should have been getting paid while he was good, and then after he finally got paid, he was never as good.
Gotcha. Interesting. I don't know. What do you think about Phil Jackson? Do you think he's overrated? I feel like people think he's overrated
No.
because he's played with Jordan and Kobe.
Right. But at the same
he's
time,
coached Jordan and Kobe.
so did other coaches.
Yeah.
How many rings did they have?
Yeah, that's true.
Like Jordan went through like 4 coaches before they got to...
More true with it's more true with Jordan. I would say. 'Cause
Right. They went through quite a few coaches. Now, granted, the team did get better when Phil took over, but Doug Collins pretty much had the team that Phil Jackson had during, at least for the first 3 championships. Adding Rodman for the last 3 championships is a whole different thing. But for the first 3, Doug Collins and Phil Jackson basically had the same team because they were on the coaching staff together. That's something I never knew. I never knew that Phil Jackson was an assistant for Doug Collins.
I didn't know that either. Honestly, that's wild.
And so Doug Collins was basically told to run the triangle offense to take, and that was from another assistant coach. That's who actually created it. Phil Jackson didn't really create it.
Huh.
It was like studied by their other assistant coach who was like a dinosaur, and I guess he was an offensive genius, and they kept him in that position because he just kind of was like their offensive coordinator, that he was never going to be the head coach. But he was influencing the triangle offense, and Doug Collins was like, no, we'll just run the ball through Michael. Kind of like what we do with Harden. They're like, no, we'll just run through the ball through Michael. Why would we run the triangle offense? That's going to get him the ball less. And they're like, yeah, but it's going to get the whole team involved. And he's like, no. And so finally it just got to the point where they're like, okay, well, we're going to bring in Phil. And like Doug was like aware of that and I guess okay with it, according to the documentary. And Phil ran the triangle offense. And Michael Jordan still got scoring titles, still scored like 30 a game, even though he was technically touching the ball less. And Phil like made him buy into that.
Yeah,
Like Michael was like, who the hell is this guy trying to take the ball from me? He wasn't like super on board at first, and then it got to the point where he bought into it so much that he wouldn't play for anybody else. So I think Phil's a good coach. He definitely wasn't a good owner, or whatever he was for the Knicks.
But I feel like that place is just so messed up.
But the Knicks are toxic. Yeah,
if he did a good job, but still,
if he was out west, maybe he would have done better. But to me, like a good executive would be like Jerry West.
If you put Jerry West on the Knicks right now, could he do anything though?
Probably not. Not immediately. It would take time.
A long time.
But I mean, look what he did. I mean, if you can do it with the Clippers, he would be the best shot at fixing the Nets. But he is very old, so I don't know how many good years he's got left. We are getting a little off. The other thing I didn't like, my problem I had was at the end of episode 2, they do the Scottie Pippen cliffhanger of like, is he going to play? Is he going to get traded? Granted, we do know what happens. He stays on the team. They win a championship. But I didn't even know that he was rumored to be traded. And I didn't know that he could have had surgery over the offseason, but decided not to because he was mad at the team. And so I didn't know that stuff going in. So they like end episode 2 with that. And I'm like, whoa, like what ends up happening? Like how does he come back?
And they go in a different direction. That's all about Rodman, isn't it?
It was all about Rodman. I was like, what is this? I was like, they're not going to wrap up the Scottie Pippen storyline? And then out of nowhere, after like a pretty long time, they like come back to the Scottie thing and they're like, Scottie, what happened? He's like, oh yeah, I just decided to come back. You know, I knew management had the upper hand, so I just came back and started playing again. And I was like, oh, that was so like underwhelming. Like I didn't like that. If the answer was going to be so underwhelming, they should have like
middle of an episode, just move on.
Yeah, something. I don't know. Just reveal it quicker. Like
because that's a whole week away too. Because that's episode 2 to 3.
Right. So I had to wait a whole week to basically find out nothing. That was exciting. Like, granted, I do know the end result, but it just the way they built up that drama, and then it was so just he just came back.
It's crazy how underpaid he is.
He was, yeah. That is wild. But at the same time, when he explained it at first, I get it. Like, he's from Arkansas. He's got so many siblings. They've always been poor. He can't believe he's in the NBA. He doesn't know how long he's going to play for, so he just took the money.
Yeah.
He just took the money and didn't have the whereabout or the know-all, maybe not a good agent to tell him, hey, don't sign such a long deal.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, $18 million's a lot if you had nothing. So to me, it's kind of whatever.
122nd in the league, though.
Right. I mean, once he started winning championships, it was egregious. But when he first signed it, it's whatever.
Yeah.
And then, of course, management, again, this is where they messed up. They should have been nice enough to allow him to renegotiate in some capacity. Because Gary Krause was like, no. He's like, I've got the best player ever, and I don't have to pay him. Like, why would I? Or the second best player ever, and I don't have to pay him. Why would I pay you if I don't have to?
Mm-hmm. So,
And then he did his whole thing where I can just trade you. Which he almost traded him for Tracy McGrady, which honestly isn't a bad trade.
No, at that time, no.
Especially if you keep Jordan.
I agree.
We don't know if the video cut off or not, but that's what we have Premiere
Doesn't
for.
matter.
Doesn't matter. Decent.
It's all content being, at least being created, maybe not consumed.
Maybe consumed, maybe not. But yeah, I think it's been interesting. A lot of the Rodman stuff I didn't already know about. The Carmen Electra story was pretty wild.
So he won 5 straight championships.
Rodman?
Yeah.
Basically, no.
He didn't win the 2 with the Pistons and then go 3 straight with the Bulls?
No, because there was that 3-year lapse.
You're right.
Right.
Sorry. I was thinking he won the first 3. He won the second 3 with the Bulls.
He was part of the second 3, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, they said some stat like he was the one of 2 players ever to finish with 20-plus rebounds, 10 assists, and 0 points.
0 points.
That is wild, dude.
Yeah.
I honestly love it. That's such a cool trait to have, to be that unselfish. Like,
Right.
not care about scoring at all.
To me, he's what Draymond Green wants to be.
Yeah.
And what Draymond Green was for a small amount of time, because they like show some of his old highlights from their championship years, and he was doing a lot of the stuff that like Rodman does.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, he's not the same now. I think he's already kind of lost a step, and that he's not as good.
He shoots
and he's
too
definitely
much he shoots too much to be Rodman, I would say.
right, and he's definitely not good without Steph and Clay.
Yeah, no, they're the worst team in the league this year.
Right. So I don't know. It's been interesting, but yeah, the Rodman stuff, like coming down the tunnel drinking a Miller Lite, like I thought that was hilarious. Like the game hadn't even started yet, he's already had a beer, and then like the Vegas vacation.
Yeah,
I think
he just
ESPN, made a great point. They're like, dude, he never would have gotten away with that in the day if like in this age of like social media, no player could ever do that.
No,
It was only in that
would know
time.
about it. Yeah.
That's why Seinfeld's great.
Why? What do we want to
All the situations in the '90s that you couldn't do today.
Yeah, I was watching the one where they're stranded at a party or something, and
Right.
Kramer's taking forever. I'm like, if you could send a text, drop a pin, send them the address,
Uber,
Google Maps, yeah,
anything.
but I was baffled by how like difficult that situation was, and how he's like, yeah, it's 1937 West 81st Street or something like
Right.
that, and it's like, if anyone told me that today, I would be like, cool. I'm gonna
Right.
look that up. I would never know like how to
get there.
How to get there? Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, and that's why I think this documentary is great, because
It's
like
a glimpse into the 90s.
right. Well, all the stuff that they did back then that we
Outlandish.
didn't know about, yeah. And then like if any of that stuff were to happen today, it'd be all over social media, like especially like some of the stuff in practice and
Can you imagine the first takes and the undisputeds about
what Michael said at practice today.
everything Jerry Krause said, everything said by Scottie Pippen being underpaid? They would have probably gotten Scottie Pippen paid more, honestly, just
Yeah.
by bringing it up and talking about it.
That's true. But SportsCenter existed sort of back then.
I mean, it did, but it didn't.
Right.
It was barely there. No one cared about it.
Hilarious.
What a wild time.
Yeah.
Can't imagine not caring about sports.
And then 5 and 6, I do feel like I really only care about the 97-98 season part of this documentary because it's stuff I haven't seen. And a lot of this extra stuff to me is really just a lot of filler. I know a lot of people aren't familiar with it, but I'm
enjoying it because of that.
right. I'm getting.
I wish it was called something else because I feel like the title is misleading.
Right, exactly.
So I
that's
guess we
all.
kind of
That's
agree on
all
that,
I'm
yeah.
there for is like the Last Dance part, and like everything else I'm pretty familiar with. But if they're showing me stuff I haven't seen, that is cool. But other than that, I'm like, okay, like yeah, he hits the shot over Elo. Yeah, I know. Okay, you know they should have had Ron Harper on him. Yeah, okay, yeah, like I don't know. But it's cool. And then Ron Harper ends up going to the Bulls and winning championships. I think that's wild.
Yeah.
Cavs being decent back then was interesting.
That is wild. It's one of the worst looking uniforms I've ever seen.
Yeah. But
Just
they were good.
Atrocious.
And then the fact that they swept the Pistons, I forgot about that. I knew that the Pistons walked off without shaking hands, but I didn't realize that.
It was in a sweep.
Right. And then I did like the fact that Isaiah Thomas like tries to explain himself, and they like go to Michael and they're like, "Hey, Michael, this is like Isaiah's recording of him explaining that situation." Michael's like, "I don't even want to see it." He's like, "I already know what he says. He's reflected on the past, and we didn't do that back then, and yada yada yada." And sure enough, they played the video for him, and that's like exactly what Isaiah Thomas says.
Yeah, he says like the Celtics. I had to chase down Kevin McHale and shake his hand or whatever. And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean you had to chase him down?
Right.
Like, it didn't look like you really chased him down that much. Like, I don't
At all.
But honestly, dude, like I like that. I like the animosity between them.
No, right.
I wish that was there around today. I feel like everyone's on a freaking banana boat now.
No, it is. Oh, in today's NBA, right? That's what Isaiah Thomas says. He's like, yeah, all these guys, win or lose after a playoff series, they're all hugging, they're all friends. He's like, we didn't do that back then. And Michael like calls out Isaiah Thomas still though. He like predicts everything that he's gonna say, and he goes, look back at the tapes. Every year we lost to them, I shook their hand. I shook all of their hands. Even if it hurt, I still did it because of sportsmanship. And I was like, yeah, like good point. Because they show that clip and they like show Isaiah walking off, but he like show him shaking hands with the Celtics. Mm-hmm. So I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't shake people's hands in basketball.
But like I get not wanting to, but like also just I like how Michael Jordan calls out Isaiah Thomas's explanation.
Who do you think's right in this
calls
case?
It a bitch move. Oh, Michael, all the way. Because like again, if you don't want to shake hands, that's on you. But don't make it act like it's part of the culture when other people shake hands. Like he's acting like nobody ever shook hands, and it's like no, I shook your hand after you beat us 3 years in a row. Yeah. And when we beat you, you walk off the court. And he goes, that's fine. He goes, you know what I mean? He just didn't care for Isaiah's explanation.
Yeah, I guess that's a weak explanation, but
And he called it a bitch move, and I thought
shaking
that was
hands. I guess shaking hands is one thing where they probably should have shook hands, but I just enjoy that they hate each other so much.
Right, and they still hate each other to this day.
Yeah, they won't be on anything together. They hate talking about each other.
Yeah.
Do you know
and they always say LeBron's the GOAT. Any Piston always goes, oh, LeBron's the GOAT. And it's like, you played against the GOAT. Like,
and he put the what did he put in his top 5? He put Kareem, Magic, Bird, Jordan 4, something 5. Like top 5 players that he's played against.
Right.
And those are the 5 players that he played against.
Right.
Or I mean, those are his top 5. Like Jordan was 4 after Bird, Magic, Kareem, which I don't hate that much, but it's just you can see the pettiness in there.
Right.
Because that's just not hot of a take to it to be debatable. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because those are all-time greats. So
they are all-time greats, but
it's
like Magic.
It's clear.
Like how often did you play against Magic? You played against
once,
right?
Or one.
And he's in the playoffs, and he's in the West. So like he didn't face them a whole lot in the he didn't face them a ton in the regular season or in the playoffs. He played Michael. They used to play like 6 times a year, and met in the playoffs. Like doesn't make any sense.
I just love that they really messed some people up when they went to the when Michael went to the rim. They just beat the crap out of him, and I love it. It's so awesome.
It's violent though, dude. I can't believe he didn't get injured from all of that.
Yeah.
I can't believe there wasn't one injury.
See, I didn't even know about his injury either. That's another cool thing.
Oh, the foot one?
About. Yeah, I never knew about that.
I knew all about that. I even saw the footage of those pickup games that he was playing that he wasn't supposed to be playing. They didn't have that in the documentary, but I've seen that.
In the Bulls championship package or whatever. That thing that's, clear case.
6 discs.
Yeah. Discs.
6 discs. I don't know, 3 discs. I don't know. It's a lot.
Yeah. I've watched that one I've watched that one once, but I've seen like the Laker one like a billion times.
Right. Well,
so I assume it's the same thing.
It's
just a mini
not.
documentary on a
Michael's the best.
So yeah, do you feel that Michael looks better in this documentary?
I feel like there's going to be more to
same?
come. There's more to come. To me, this doesn't
Show
change.
How great he is?
No, he was worried that people are going to hate him after this comes out, and so far, I don't hate him. Like nothing's changed. Like my opinion about him hasn't changed thus far. Like he thinks it will. Like he claims he's worried about this. So I'm assuming there's more to come. I don't know if they're going to touch on his gambling or his father's death and how those two might be connected. I feel like that's coming up because there was an article, like I'm getting kind of like subtle article updates about it. Like it said something about a mob boss saying that like he does believe that Michael's dad's death had something to do with his gambling, or he wouldn't be surprised if it was, stuff like that. So I don't know if they're going to touch on things like that. The fact that he might have retired the first time because of gambling.
Is he still the GOAT?
Yeah.
Is there anything that can happen here that makes him not the GOAT?
In terms of basketball, no. In terms of a person, I think his reputation or personality can be hurt a little bit. But does that even matter? That's on him if he cares. He's a billionaire. He's not going to play basketball again. He's a billionaire. That's not going anywhere.
What does it matter? Yeah.
Right. His income might slow down if this hurts his reputation, but at the same time, this documentary is making probably a fair amount of money, and he's going to
coming
get
out at the most clutch time ever.
and he's going to get royalties for it. So,
and no one's going to stop buying his brand.
You would think. That's what I'm saying. His income might get hurt if for some reason his brand gets hurt, but again, I doubt that too. Sure, Jordans will still sell. I think the only thing that's going to happen is instead of people viewing him as this untouchable hero, is that he's like an asshole. Like, I think that's the only thing that might change, and I don't,
Like he's a little bit more like Kobe than people want to believe.
Right, or he's just more human. Yeah, like they
more
have
hated, more flaws
Right.
outside the game. More
right. He's not
kind
definitely
of
not
an
perfect.
asshole to everyone.
But if anything, that might put people in awe. They're like, wow, he was up all night gambling all the time, and he'd still go to the game the next day and just dominate. And that the flu game might not actually be the flu, that he was actually hungover. I don't know if that story's going to get touched on.
That would be interesting. I hope
Because
it
it's
does.
rumored that the night before he was up in the Utah hills, like playing poker and drinking all night.
I remember then the Dream Team, them talking about that, how they'd stay up until 3 a.m. playing cards, smoking cigars, and then go
Right.
run at practice all day, and then hit the beaches, then hit the bars. Like, what is this? How are
Right.
y'all doing this?
Yeah.
How?
Super athletes, man. Just go, go, go.
That's insane.
Yeah, I don't know. But I'm excited to see what's coming. I don't know if 3 and 4 did. I liked 1 and 2. The episodes 1 and 2, I liked those more than 3 and 4, except for some of the Rodman stuff. But I feel like they could have shown. I kind of wanted even more highlights or like more stories about his basketball, or for him to touch on why he's depressed or mentally unstable. Like, I feel like they always just say, like, he always just goes, yeah, I'm mentally unstable, or I was going through some stuff at the time. It's like, well, what? Like, why did you have a gun in the Detroit parking lot? Like, what was happening? Like,
What's the deal?
y'all just won a championship or two. Like, what is upsetting you? Is it the media? Like, he never really specifically says. He just always says, oh, I was going through something. It's like, what? What were you going through? I don't know. I kind of wanted more there, but it was still some stuff I didn't know about, like that Carmen Electra stuff and all that Vegas vacation. I didn't know about that. Thought it was interesting. I don't know if 5 and 6 are going to be more filler or if it's going to be.
So you think it's a little... All right, yeah, there's my other problem, although I've been proven wrong to this point, but we'll see. 10 parts.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if it needs
10
to be
hours on supposedly one season.
Which is not, we already know is not true.
No, it's not true. So I guess that's my other problem with it, but that's kind of a nitpick.
I think.
Unless it's all like, it's
Well, I think
more
they
filler
wanted
based.
to. It's for money. It's for entertainment purposes
Oh,
because
of
they
course.
see how well the People versus O.J. Simpson did. They see Tiger King. They see all these docuseries doing so well. So they're like, we have one season that could probably take an episode or two. Well, why not just tell
Milk
the
it.
whole story and make it 10 episodes? Yeah, might as well.
Yeah.
Because like you don't know most of this stuff, so it's
No,
like,
I don't. So it's very interesting.
so they are kind of covering the bases. They're teaching everybody everything. Because that's the other thing I do appreciate about this documentary. It's going to show that, like, the people who say they grew up with LeBron and, like, LeBron's their GOAT, I get that. But now they have no excuse to not, like, realize that MJ is definitely probably the GOAT. If not, he should at least, it should enter their mind. They're like, well, maybe I don't know. Like, I don't know about LeBron. Like, Michael was doing this and that. Because I feel like they just don't know about it.
I'm already like more sure than ever.
Right.
Honestly.
And I feel like some of these NBA players are like, man, this stuff's wild. Like, I've seen some of their tweets like, I can't believe he did this and that, or they like did this back then. And
People are more athletic than him now, I think.
right.
But what do you want him to do?
Right. Well,
he
and
was
even
born
in-
in that time. He played in that time, and he dominated in that time. That's
And even
all
in the
you can
years, and all the years, he wasn't even that. Like the last 3 championships, he wasn't really like uber athletic. Like they break down how he just lived off mid range. He just lived off fadeaways and just being better. Like just being because he wasn't that great of a shooter the first few years of his career.
do. Right.
He developed that shot. Like, it just got to the point where his mid-range 2 was, like, untouchable. Like, he wasn't relying on driving past people and dunking on them anymore.
That always bothered me in 2K. How bad he was.
What do you mean?
Like, the player him in 2K was bad. Like, sucked to use, in my opinion.
Depends on which one you had.
Because his jumper wasn't good
Right.
in the first 3 or whatever, his first, 7-8 years of his career.
Right. And, like, in the highlights, it's not horrible, but, yeah, his jump shot became, like, unguardable the last few years.
Which is interesting to me because I never even thought he had that great of a jumper.
Mm-hmm.
Because all I've done is I see like the beginning of his career and all of his highlights are dunks and stuff anyway, and it's all athleticism and
right,
all that sort of stuff. And jumpers were, there wasn't even a 3-point line.
Right. Well, and that's because he had a 3-point line, but they had one. They like showed a game where he scored like 44 points, and I think like he scored 44 points off 0 3-pointers, and he only had like 11 to 15 free throws. So the rest of that was just mid-range twos. That's what the rest of it was. Mm-hmm. And they said there was like one of the seasons he had 571 made mid-range 2-pointers, and the next highest was like 400 attempted, and he had made 570.
Wow.
So he had he had over 100 more makes than the other guy had in attempts, and that was like Dirk. It was like Dirk who had over 400 attempts.
A lot of people think the greatest scoring performance was his 64 against Boston or whatever. 63
against Boston, and his career high is 69 against the Cavs.
I don't know. I was kind of disappointed in it.
Why?
Because I didn't know they lost.
Right.
All
they
that
lost on the last possession, and he was a one-man show. Like I don't know. To me, it kind of paints the picture that like he was by himself.
Yeah.
And he still had 6 assists.
Yeah, I don't know. That's not a lot.
It's not, but like I've seen Carmelo go 63 with no assists.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's like he was just doing it all. And there's a few times where I guess he was like triple teamed and he passed somebody for a dunk.
I just didn't realize he lost the game. I guess that sort of disappointed me. I was like, he lost? Like really? That sucks.
Yeah.
And right. It was overtime, double overtime.
I think it's just overtime.
Overtime.
But they had the last possession, and even Larry Bird, like I like how Larry Bird's like we knew he was the best player. Like we were worried about him. He just had no help. But he's like I knew he was the best player on the floor.
So we just let him destroy us, and then
basically,
teamwork. They said like we just used teamwork and basically just outplayed him in every other position.
Right. Not a whole lot he could do.
Yeah. Any other thoughts? Anything you're looking forward to in the next couple of... What do you give it, first of all? What do you give it?
Yeah, so far I give it mad decent.
Okay.
You?
Fuego.
Okay. That's good. It has the potential to be Fuego. That's why it's sitting at mad decent right now, just because I feel like we're in the filler. And I'm ready for... Because I know the ending is going to be epic, and I know they're probably saving the most drama for the last 2 episodes.
Probably going to be really emotional.
And yeah, really emotional. Most of the 97-98 coverage is probably going to be in the last few episodes because this is everything leading up to it, really, when they kind of touch on the 98 season. I hope there's more roasting of Krause. They kind of talk about it, and they've only showed like a few of it, and the few examples they've showed were hilarious. So I hope there's more of that, where they're like, Krause, you going to shoot layups with us? Yeah. He goes, okay, cool. I'll have someone lower the rim. Like, I loved that. Or he's like, do the diet pills make you shorter? Like, they keep you short? I love that. So
awful, dude. So messed up.
It just shows how much they hated him, which I guess also is why he decided to blow everything up because nobody liked him anyway and they weren't giving him credit.
So, yeah.
So might as well just get rid of him. And I guess he saw it as, what does he care? He has 6 rings, so he can do whatever he wants. And his goal, I guess, was to rebuild the team and win again.
And then show that it was him.
Right. And I guess that never happened.
No.
So. But also, he didn't really want to get rid of Michael. That was the only thing he was willing to hold on to. Everything else was disposable.
Yeah, he just didn't want it, yeah. Which is weird because I feel like he still wouldn't get the credit for that if they won another championship with a bunch of cast of characters and Michael.
I feel like they'd have to. He wouldn't let them get away with not giving him credit.
I guess, yeah, but I think in everyone else's eyes, they'd be like, wow, Michael's...
Well, still Michael, yeah, they're going to give the credit to Michael, just like Tom Brady. Well, I feel like Bill Belichick gets a fair amount of credit, actually. I was going to say Tom Brady gets more credit, but it's kind of gotten to the point where they're both given almost equal credit. I'd say Tom's a little bit more favored, only because he gets to play.
Yeah.
But
I think it helps that Belichick is seen as like a defensive person.
Right.
And the defense has like carried them the last couple Super Bowls at least.
You think Tom's going to do anything in Tampa?
I hope there's a season, and B, I think everyone's kind of getting a little ahead of themselves. He's 40-something years old.
Gronk's coming back with him.
Gronk, who I don't know why you would come out and retire. I mean, that's great. You want to keep playing, but I just feel like he was so banged up, and he was just running on fumes out there, winning the Super Bowl.
Right.
And why you wouldn't want to go out on that. And then on top of that, Tampa Bay is not a great team.
But they're getting weapons now. They're getting assets.
They've got offensive weapons for sure. Like they've got some really good receivers, but their defense is awful. That's why they've lost all the games.
You don't need defense. I'm just kidding. You do.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. All right. Well, but back to The Last Dance. Is there anything you're looking forward to, or are you just kind of along for the ride?
Man, I'm just along for the ride, honestly.
But you think it's fuego, though? You're going to keep watching it all the way through as much as you can? Like, I know your work schedule varies, but you're going to try to see all the episodes at some point.
I will definitely watch the episodes for
Okay.
sure. Probably not the night of.
Live.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I can't wait. I do, like, I love and hate that it's only every Sunday. Like, I hate waiting, but at the same time, if they did have it all available at once,
You just consume it all, and then
it'd be
it wouldn't
done.
be. Yeah.
I do like the anticipation. Like, it's my thing to do on Sunday now. Like, I got to watch The Last Dance. But all right, any closing thoughts? How do you feel about the first video episode? I know it hasn't been posted or edited at this moment, but how do you feel right now? You think we look stupid? Do you think it's any good? Do you think it's usable?
I don't know.